Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcasts from Space Age, a semi-streamlined playthrough walkthrough. My name is Fenton, hope you're all doing okay. Once again I have not managed to get as much content done as I would have hoped. But maybe that's good, maybe the shorter videos are what people want to see. Either way, I've got a cup of tea ready, hope you got a cup of tea ready. If you want to do the old like, comment, subscribe for me, that would be great. And we'll jump straight into it, shall we? Okay, we are in the midst of refactoring the whole thing, basically. This is the rocket part ship. This is going to deliver everything we need to make rockets on all the other planets in common quality, because we do have a decent legendary bus going, but I don't want to be bothered making legendary processing units and low density structures that just go into rockets, so we're going to basically go to Fulgora, pick up loads of everything we need to make a rocket. Rocket productivity is off the chain at the moment. 120% productivity, 50 rocket parts needed, standard, so that's 25 minus another 20%, what's that, another 5, 20 processing units, I think, roughly. Quick back of the napkin maths. The other thing we want is some legendary mech armor. It's time to upgrade to our final form with our legendary mech armor. And to do that we need processing units, which we've got, holmium plates, which we have because we were grinding, we were grinding upcycling of electromagnetic plants for a bit just to get the holmium. That seems to be the way to go, and as such we have a lot of legendary holmium that we can use for good stuff like that moving forwards. And those will go into the superconductors and the power and the supercapacitors as well. That will give us a nice big grid, which I honestly don't know what we'll do with all the space, but whatever. So let's get that done as a little treat to ourselves now. It has a 15 by 17 equipment size grid, which is frankly ridiculous. It's awkward that it's an odd number. 15 by 17 is very strange. But whatever, it's fine. The other thing I realised, I should say, is that we can make legendary construction robots with the stuff we've got on Vulcanus, but the problem is we can't like take them with us everywhere unless we also load a rocket full of robots every time, which I just don't want to do. I don't want to spend one rocket sending me up to space and then 5 rockets of legendary construction robots every time. There it is! Created the first legendary mech armor, 127 hours, 47 minutes and 13 seconds. Are you ready? That's a lot of inventory space. That's a huge equipment grid. We got loads of space now. We want more legs, we want more roboports, we want more batteries, we want probably more portable fusion reactors, we probably want, I don't know, some lasers or something. Some shield. I don't really know. I don't really know what to do with it all. Spoilt for choice. It's an embarrassment of riches. But it's a new era, folks. That's basically what we're going for here. It's a new era. The rocket part delivery ship had a small problem in that I forgot that rocket fuel stacks to 20. So 3,000 processing units, not much space. 3,000 low density structures, a bit more space. 3,000 rocket fuel, oh my god. So I just had to rejig this slightly. I got rid of the middle missile launcher. There used to be a missile launcher right in the very middle for like extreme emergencies, especially on the south. But now that we've been grinding levels of explosion damage and physical damage, that doesn't really seem too necessary anymore. So this design is functional, like it does work. I've had this in my back pocket since my first vanilla playthrough of Space Age. It does do the job of everything I want. And I'm really bad at designing the spaceships is the problem. But I'm also the kind of person that just won't go and take a blueprint and use it. If you go and take a blueprint and use it, that's fine. If you take my blueprint and use it, that's fine. But I'm just like, I want to design one, but then when I try and design one, they always end up being useless and rubbish. Like, this has grown on me in its sort of ugliness. It is quite compact and tight, and it does do everything I want it to do at speed that I want it to do it at. So I guess I shouldn't complain. You know. Alright, let's go back to Vulcanus and see if we can't build some more legendary gear of stuff that we want. I did it on Fulgora, it turns out. Oh no, when you go into space, you can't see your armour. Well, that's no good, is it? That's no flipping good. You saw it there briefly. Roboports. Why did I do it on Fulgora? Where am I? What is happening? I don't understand what's happening anymore. Let me load that. Let me load that save again. I think maybe I'd done it and then gone to Fulgora to do something and then forgotten. Alright, so we've got portable fusion reactors, loads of legs, loads of roboports. I'm just going to have to drop that back down to the planet basically, aren't I? Because this was a disaster of a save. And a bit of space here that I'm probably just going to fill with lasers. 6 fusion reactors might be overkill. It's difficult to get legendary fusion reactors at this point. It kind of almost makes more sense to try and grind for legendary portable fission reactors, but we'd somehow have to get legendary uranium fuel cells, which we could do on Nauvis with a bit of upcycling, but doesn't really seem worth the effort. The max output of a legendary one of these is 1.88 megawatts, whereas this is 2.5 megawatts on its own, so that is actually completely redundant. Don't do that. And so now we move at quite a brisk pace. Quite a brisk pace indeed. It's very satisfying. With enough Roboport space for 558, but I'm just going to use this space down here for 500 robots. Let's get 500 robots delivered to us. Are there even 500 robots in this Roboport network? I don't think there are. I mean, even 300 is crazy, and then so the legendary ones can recharge 9 robots at a time. So really, having these on you is pretty good compared to just carrying legendary robots around. If you carry legendary robots around, they don't move faster; they just have more battery, so they can do more things at once before they need to recharge. So they're not brilliant. Whereas the buff from these of being able to recharge 9 robots as opposed to 4 robots. And recharge 9 robots faster, 2.5 megawatts, means that you can do, like, crazy stuff. Oh, baby. It's the little things. It's the little things. See if any of them get struck by lightning. How long before they start to recharge, I wonder? This is a very labour-intensive task, anyway, doing it like this. Let's sip of my tea. This is a very, very labour-intensive task for the robots. You know, you put down so many construction orders. Anyone who's been to Fulgora for the first time and tried to clear the scrap like that with their robots will realise that it does take a long time. And then, there we go, and they're all charged, and we used about a quarter of our battery power. And we got legendary Mark III personal batteries. I did very foolishly make some Legendary Mark IIs thinking they would be just as good, but 250 megajoules in a Legendary Mark II is just the base version of a common Mark III, so I did make them and then realised, oh wait, this is no better, so then I think that's why I'm back on Fulgora, actually, now that I think about it. I took these back to Fulgora to get Legendary supercapacitors to make them Legendary Mark III batteries. Yes, that makes sense. It's all coming back to me now, folks. It's all coming back to me now. So we have a lot of robots. I'm one of these people who are probably just going to go to the planet that I want to do the work on. I mean, I like being able to do the remote view stuff, of course I do, but I got to be there in person, folks. I got to oversee it. I don't trust them to do the right job if I'm not there overseeing it. Yeah, I'm a meddling middle manager. How did you guess? How did you guess? Okay, now we're all suited and booted. Let's go back to Vulcanus and actually start work on stuff that we want to do. So yes, there's going to be two ways to approach this. We've kind of already locked ourselves into... Oh, thanks, Technology Worker Robot Speed 11 researched. Really doesn't matter what I research. You've got to realise that when I bring these save files up, they're already done and dusted, right? They make no effect on what is actually going to happen in my main save. These are just save files that I've made periodically throughout the playthrough at interesting points to talk about what's going on. So when something like that happens and I just make a random decision to just queue a new technology, it really makes no difference. It's more just, you know, get rid of the flashing and keep everything ticking over in the background. Okay, right. Yeah, there are two ways we can approach this. We kind of already locked ourselves into one by doing this rocket delivery thing. Just no reason to keep this around. The only reason to keep any of Vulcanus around at the moment is because it makes green belts, which we can only make on Vulcanus, which we want en masse, because we want to take green belts everywhere, work with green belts everywhere now, as we've been doing for quite a long time, to be fair. And it used to make the rocket components, which we now no longer need. So honestly, to be honest with you, this can all go. Like, this can all go. And I did have a deconstruction planner in my pocket at one point. No, it's gone. We'll just do a new one. So when you're doing a big operation like this, blacklist all of your power. I will do the wooden power poles, even though I'm pretty sure there aren't any wooden power poles on this planet. Blacklist all of your power. Blacklist your roboports. And then you can just go to town on it, right? Knowing full well that as long as it is within a roboport network, it will maintain power and it will get destroyed. We don't have a huge robo army on Vulcanus, but we can amend that. I mean, it's mostly because I've got 500 of the construction robots on me, but I also want to just have a quick play with legendary piercing rounds and legendary gun turrets to see and to show you the difference that makes. The gun turrets actually don't make any difference, it's just the range, which is not nothing for this example. Where are you, mate? There's so much calcite on this. Wow, and so much sulfuric acid. That's crazy. Where are you? Where are you, pal? So we got a bigger version of this from before, if you remember. This was the de facto early game way to get rid of the worms. There we go. You are a small one, so this is just not fair at all. This is just rude, to be honest with you. The increased range is very nice. Turn the roboport on would help. Oh god, the robots didn't even finish. The robots didn't even finish loading that ammo. This is a very large territory. You're also a small one. Oh, come on, we can do better than that. You get to live for now. Let's try and find at least a medium one. Oh, wow. Okay. This is a medium one. I should have brought some cliff explosives with me, really, because I'm going to have to I'm gonna have to wait. We'll do it here. This should be fine. Nice. Medium ones, not a problem. The large ones are a touch of an issue. You have to get pretty good spacing with it. You can't be as laissez-faire as you can with that. With the medium ones. They have to shoot for a little bit longer, because the big ones have a 5 physical... Actually, that's the... Yeah, the segments have a 5 physical reduction regardless, so they're going to take 5 damage off first. I think it's first. And then 50% damage reduction on that. So, like this... I'm not sure this will work, actually. No, it's going to get away and turn around before... and then regenerate its health. Yeah. It was close. It was close. But as it comes around, this shockwave is gonna do some damage. Yeah. It knows what to target. But it forgot. It got bored and gave up on that one. That's funny. Didn't think it would do that. I thought it would for sure go for it. So yeah, you can't put it too close to the front, because the front is what targets the... is what knows to take the eruptions out. Whereas if you put it on the tail, it has to sort of turn around a little bit before. But it's still doable. It's still doable. We lost a lot of turrets and a lot of ammo, which when you're talking about legendary stuff is not pleasant, but it is doable. It is doable. Of course, I'm belabouring this point quite a lot, because we do have access to railguns at this point in the game. And I'll show you that a bit later. This is a lot of work, really, for what can just be done by you personally carrying a railgun around with you. Okay, how did they get on with this while we were away? It's going to take a long time. And I say mostly because I emptied the Roboport network of robots for my own personal use here. 500 is a lot. 500 robots is a lot, but let's quickly mosey on back down to the base. This will of course have to go. Whee! Look at the inventory go! And there we go. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of, a bit of a grind, really, getting this done. But it will need to be done. Like, there's no reason for this to stick around, basically. So, I broke this train. Don't see that icon very often. Train cannot find path to destination. Nice. But yes, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. I thought a long time about whether this was correct. And I think it is. I think it is just going to be fine. The only issue is making belts, because we don't want to use all of our legendary resources making legendary belts that make no difference at all to anything, you know? They have slightly increased health, whoop-de-doo. Okay, it's almost there now. Rip the base. We'll leave them all up and running just for a moment. But yeah, so what... This also is not long for this world, because all of this stuff I want to replace it with legendary versions of it, if I even need it at all anymore, you know? It's kind of some stuff that we're just not going to ever need to make. Because we'll make a legendary version of it, or we just don't need it anymore. Like, I don't know. If we need to make something in a non-legendary version of it, I'm going to make it on Now East. If I need a legendary version of it, I'm going to make it on Vulcanus. That's the plan. That's the plan. But of course, the green belts are what we want, and we can only make these here, and this causes a small issue, a slight issue, in that, yes, we don't want to completely run dry our supply of legendary iron just to make legendary... to make belts, even though we've got lots of iron at the top anyway. We just don't want to, like, it uses so much. 480 iron plates per minute plus another 480 of iron gear wheels, which even with some productivity bonuses, you know, you're still talking about a lot of iron plates a minute there. Making them in legendary, frankly, that's ridiculous. That's like the golden toilet of Factorio. Oh, all my belts are legendary. Okay, why though? Why is that? Why is your toilet gold? Makes no sense. Doing it with the belts is no problem. Doing just a bootstrap version of the belts is not an issue, because you just mine some tungsten. Tungsten plates is tungsten ore and molten iron. You mine some iron for the gear wheels. You get a bit of lubricant, which we can repurpose from this anyway, because we've got a lot of heavy oil and lubricant being made up here. The real issue comes when you want your belt, your undergrounds and your splitters. Your undergrounds, not as much. You can make the undergrounds here, kind of. You need more tungsten plates, you need even more iron gear wheels. 80 iron gear wheels for a set of blue undergrounds, that's crazy. Your splitters, you need to make processing units, you know, and electronic circuits, and I thought, oh, maybe I should have literally kept that entire base running just so that this mall could keep up. And then I thought, no, that's a mugs game, mate. That's a mugs game. We'll do it. We'll do it for real. I say do it for real. I say do it for real. I found a workaround, basically. This is ugly. Sorry. Looking at it now with fresh eyes, it's pretty ugly. I don't know why I made it this shape. Also, the power poles are an absolute joke. But the power is still connected down here to this fusion reactor, so we'll fix that later. Molten iron. We're repurposing the molten iron that we get from this process, because we make quite a lot of molten iron here. So we're repurposing the molten iron from this process, turning that into plates and loads of gear wheels, finally using the stack inserters. And then that's how we get all of our quantities of green belts. And then we just mine. I found a very small little tidy tungsten ore patch over here. It says 686,000, but we're on mining productivity 445% and 50% resource strain. So I'll be surprised if this ever runs out, to be honest with you, for what we're using it for. Plus all of the tungsten ore that we got from demolishing the main base anyway. So this will make all of the green belts, and then my first thought was I will just make legendary versions of the undergrounds and the splitters using the stuff on the bus. And then I thought, no, that's still so many iron gear wheels. That's still far, far, far too many iron gear wheels for me, for my liking. So then I thought what I'll do is I'll just get the rocket part delivery ship as it swings past Nalvis to just pick up a stack of blue undergrounds, 2 stacks in fact, 2 stacks of blue undergrounds and 2 stacks of blue express splitters, and bring them to Vulcanus, and then we'll just make those with 1 extra step from here, because the green undergrounds you need the lubricant and the tungsten plate, and the processing units you need sorry, the turbo splitters you need some processing units, some tungsten plates, and to the lubricant as well. So we can just append those to this build. Just add a requested chest for processing units, which we'll get from here when it drops off the stuff for the rocket components. And then because the foundries have the inherent 50% productivity, for every 2 undergrounds that arrive, we get 3 green undergrounds out. So it should be fine. I don't see an issue with that. It sounds expensive to make undergrounds on Nalvis, then use rocket parts to ship them to a different planet, bring them down, and then make green undergrounds with them, and then spend more rockets to put those back up into space. It sounds wrong and bad, and in the early game I think it probably is wrong and bad to do that, especially if you can bootstrap an entire base on Vulcanus like the way we did. But in the late game, when your rockets, as I say, are so... I mean, we've not even put the productivity modules in. Let's have a quick update on the productivity modules, because You've not been hearing the dings. I turned the dings off a long time ago. And for good reason. We are up to 579 productivity module 3s. We're just stashing them, you know. We're doing really... Oh my god, the autosave. So if we put these in here instead, that's going to go from 130% productivity to what? Like 170? Yeah, 170% productivity. Some of that's inherent productivity from the rocket part productivity. We've got up to 70% anyway. So 50 divided by 170%. What is that? God knows. Nobody knows. It's about 20. It's about 20, I think. Oh no, it'd be 34, wouldn't it? Because it's... No, that doesn't make any sense. 50... Double it is 100, so then that's 34. 100 take away 34 is 56, and then halve that is 28. 28 processing units to make a rocket. 28 low-density structures and 28 rocket fuel. It's free! It's basically free. That can't be right either. That's not maths, is it? Oh, we're going to have to just find out, aren't we? We're going to have to just bloody find out. No, can't be bothered. I'll leave that as an exercise to the reader. Okay. Okay. So then now... I ummed-and-ahed two different things I wanted to do here. Do I want to actually make the science here? Or do I want to just use this as the mall for now, and then maybe we'll make the science here later? Because we were talking about making red, green, military, blue science here. And the reason I didn't immediately lock into that is because to make blue science, you need to make chemical science, you need sulfur. And sulfur is struggling, ironically. This asteroid farming thing is very good. It's especially very good on the other two. Like, you can see how much iron ore we've got here, like, frankly, ridiculous amounts. The calcite one, as we can see, is very good. It's very good. The carbon and sulfur one is struggling a little bit. And I tried various different things, you know, like I've got a circuit condition here, only make carbon, prioritize carbon if there's less than 100 carbon, and then you can start making sulfur. But it's still just not really keeping up. Getting the asteroids is not a problem. Travelling is not a problem. This can travel backwards and forwards between Navis and Vulcanus all flipping day. It's just literally not processing asteroids fast enough. These are legendary asteroid processors. We could upgrade these to legendary quality modules, which we can get in very, very high quantities now, thankfully, because on Fulgora we have been stockpiling legendary superconductors, because I just brought some plastic and copper plates in from Vulcanus, and then the holmium plates that we've got here. I think we're almost out of these. Oh no, we've got half left. So this one holmium plate makes 2 superconductors, and in an electromagnetic plant, and with productivity modules, so 125 productivity. So one holmium plate is making basically 4 superconductors. And superconductors are the only other special ingredient in the Quality Module Mark III. So this is why I was prepared to tear down the old quality farming thing from here, upcycling from down there, because we now just don't need it. We just don't need it now. We can make legendary Quality Module 3s on demand and in huge quantities. So that's good. We're done with that. So it seems like the correct option then is to just really make this big. Make it big. Right? It's kind of small, really, when you think about it. Considering the number of asteroids we can get and process, 23 legendary crushers, we can do better than that. We can do better than that, folks. Wide boy. We've gone from 28 to 68. Most of the design is the same. Yes, there's a lot of empty space. you know. But everything was basically okay on the ship, to be honest with you. Like, this ammo production thing was fine. Run the belt all the way along. We only need to make calcite and carbon for the fuel. We're never going anywhere where we need missiles. I did think about using the laser turrets, as we've established from the asteroid promethium farming thing. The laser turrets are still pretty good at this point in the game for demolishing medium and small asteroids. But it's a power drain, basically. And if it's a huge power drain. It spikes quite a lot. This is where it comes back to Navis, I think, and uses the cryogenic plant with its 940% productivity to energy consumption to make the science. But you can still see that it is fusion. The rare color fusion. Well, I guess we're not really using that many fusion power cells. Maybe it would have been fine, but I didn't want to risk it, basically. Basically, I didn't want to risk it. Turrets are more than enough for this job. Plus, it's cool and satisfying to look at, right? So, I didn't really think too much about the ratio of reprocessing commons, and then obviously you're going to get a 12.4% chance, probably slightly more than that because of how these output in a weird way. You know, you get 40% chance of getting the asteroid back, but it could be upcycled, a 20% chance of a different asteroid back that could be upcycled. These percentages aren't, what's the word I want? They're not exclusive to each other. You can get 2 asteroids back at once, I'm pretty sure. I think that we just saw that there very briefly for 1 frame. Yeah, there we go, for sure there. You can get more than 1 asteroid back at once, so the numbers aren't quite as simple as that. But then some common upcycling ones, and then slightly fewer uncommon, and then even fewer legendary and epic, and then recycle the epic. If we ever get a legendary oxide or metallic, we just reroll, hopefully try and reroll that into a carbonic one. And yeah, it's working really well. It's working really, really well. It has not been going long enough to do any definitive numbers here for you. It took a long time to get the stuff up here, but you can see just in the immediate chart, you know, we've more than doubled our production. Speaking of doubling production, that's what I did on Navis with extra rockets, because it was taking a long time to get all of the space platforms up here. So I thought, you know, I'll treat myself to 8 rockets. Why not? We got 8 rockets on Fulgora, haven't we? No, we've got 4 rockets on Fulgora, but they're very fast. 2.4 crafting speed is about what you want. I remember the last time we spoke about what the fastest crafting speed was, functional. 2.4 is about correct, it seems. So yes, so that will hopefully solve the issue of not getting enough sulfur, because we're beholden to the sulfur and the carbon to make legendary coal, because we need the legendary plastic. We are making infinite legendary plastic down here, but it is 100% repurposed, right? Like, 5 plastic bars go into 4 low density structures, which recycle into roughly 5 plastic bars. Like, you can see, I seeded this with 400 plastic a long time ago, and it is just sort of forever been sat on that. Like, there's a few extra plastic in here, but law of large numbers states that eventually that will tick down as this averages out, whereas this one has been stayed. This one has already, you know, gone down to 300 and something. But again, that will level itself out. I tried to rejig getting the steel and the copper out in a sensible way, and I did finally get over my hang-ups of trashing legendary copper, even though it seems wrong, but it's free and infinite, so it's not really that wrong. Have I done this belt thing yet? No. So, Now that we've got a lot of legendary plastic sorted again, and the legendary sulfur and carbon, that brought me back to my initial question. Do I want to make the sciences on Vulcanus? Oh, I was just grinding some legendary stuff, so I am using the legendary grabbers for this as well. Just, I thought it might be overkill, but what really turned me around on the legendary ones for these is they've got bigger internal storage, so if we go to Vulcanus and we have to wait there for a bit, at least there'll be lots of asteroid collectors here full of asteroids, in theory. Still waiting on some. Still waiting on 18. And yeah, I'm making loads of quality module 3s here because I brought the superconductors back here for making personal Roboport Mark IIs for the legendary armor, which I did in fact put some laser turrets in and take the one fusion reactor out just because. 6 seemed like overkill. I was never ever going below like 80% battery for any job ever, so I'm yet to go to Nalvis and test out this on the biters, but I did test it on the demolishers, and it does absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. They are extremely resistant to laser damage. I don't think I want to do the sciences here, in retrospect. I think spending the time and the effort to get 1,000 science, you know, get a decent amount of science per minute in legendary quantities, when we've already got quite a lot on Nalvis and we've already put the work in to get this sorted, it's irrelevant. You know, whether the science comes from Nalvis or Vulcanus is pointless. It's not worth worrying about. The bottleneck at the moment is Gleben science, and it eventually will be Fulgoran science. The only reason it's not is because we use Fulgoran science so rarely, because it doesn't go into infinite technologies that we really care about that much anymore. Scrap productivity is we're well past the point of caring about that. We've got so much scrap at the moment. Processing unit productivity, yeah, maybe, but it's getting pricey. But anyway, my point is that this runs at a decent pace. 75 per minute. It's not loads, but we're not using it very often, so we have quite a lot in the storage. Whereas the Gleben science, it spoils, right? So you never ever have a backlog of it. Whatever you make here is what your pace is, 155 per minute. You can never have a backlog of it. So then when I do need to research something that's, you know, Gleben science or whatever, the science goes up and down because we're using it so quickly on Nalvis. It arrives, it gets spent so quickly. What are we waiting on? Promethium science packs. Oh, you're on your way back, that's right. Let's probably change this up to something else while we're waiting. And probably something that uses Gleben science, just plastic productivity, that's a good one. That's always useful. So I think what I will actually do is I will build a mall here, and I will build a mall of goodies, and we'll use those goodies to... Sorry, something just went off on my phone, I got distracted. I will use those goodies to bootstrap Gleber. I think we're going to go back to Gleber after this and try and get Gleber sorted, because, as I said in the last episode, we can tear so much of this down now that we're not relying on making copper and iron to make actual freaking rocket components. We're past that point. We can just focus Gleber on making this stuff, which should be a hell of a lot easier than what we've already done here. I am pleased to report that this has not once broken. I've never mentioned Gleber in like the last 10 episodes basically because I didn't need to. It was all fine. Everything's fine here. These blueprints, pretty good it turns out. Pretty good it turns out. I haven't made any more blueprints for this episode, I'm afraid. Okay, a legendary mall, I think. Ah, what's this? This is a pretty textbook definition of something that's over-designed. That's what this is. This chest reads the item. The selector combinator reads the rocket capacity of that item. The arithmetic combinator then sends that number back to the inserter as a constant. And then the inserter is limited to putting items in the chest only up to the rocket capacity. So, all this does basically is it lets you use yellow chests. So, like, if we turn our robots off, for example, and say we want to get rid of this. No, that was a really bad example because that is absolutely filled to the brim with plastic. Iron, for example. The iron will go into this chest because it's a yellow chest, but the inserter limits it automatically to the stack size of this. So you don't have to go through each individual inserter and go, oh, stack size is whatever the rocket one is. Because we are, you know, there are going to be times where we're going to need to send each and every one of these things to another planet. Because stone, you might think, why on earth would you need to send stone somewhere? You need to send legendary stone to Gleba to make legendary landfill. Because you need legendary landfill to make a legendary biochamber. And things like that. And I thought rather than going through each one and limiting the inserter to the stack size of the rocket, because I've had this before where I wanted to send, especially on Nowvis, because on Nowvis my maul is roughly the same, but all of these were just limited to one. You know, I wanted to send something up, engine units for example, and it just never ever arrives at the ship because the rocket capacity is 400, and it won't like take 50 and then go, and take 50 and then go. It will only request the 400 once there are 400 in the system. And I also wanted a way to sort this stuff back into the boxes once, because this stuff has just been sort of amassing here as I've been pressing F to 1, pay respects, and 2, hoover it up off the belt so I can, you know, put it into assemblers here when I was handcrafting or crafting area things. So I have over-designed this, which at the very least will work, you know, everywhere that I want to use it. Except it does have a very small flaw in that if there is nothing in the box at all, you have to seed it with at least one of the item. If I take all of these out, this inserter doesn't know what to do. Because this reads the rocket capacity of the input signals, but there is no input signal, so this outputs nothing. So this says less than R, but R is 0, so it doesn't ever do anything. But then as soon as you seed it with like literally one of the item, it then knows, oh, stone, less than 500. So, is there a way around that? Probably. But equally, you have to go into each chest once anyway to put the filter down. Unless you parameterize this, I suppose, which you could easily do. You could easily parameterize that bit of it. So as you put it down, yes, as you put it down, you say where in the thing it's going. I suppose by that logic then you could make them green chests, could you? Could you make them buffer chests by that logic? And then it would request a few anyway, and then start the process? Set it to a green chest that requests one of the thing? No. That's more trouble than it's worth. Because if it's not in the system anywhere, this is fine. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. So legendary maul, what do we want? Well, importantly, we get to pick and choose now, right? Because we get to decide what we want and, more importantly, what we don't want, you know? Like, in the Nowvis maul, we were like, well, we better just make everything, right? We better just make everything. In the legendary maul, you know, we don't need legendary iron chests. We don't need legendary storage tanks. Legendary storage tanks don't do anything. Legendary belts don't do anything. Legendary inserters, yes, they definitely do something. Legendary power poles do something. Legendary pipes don't do anything, etc, etc. Could be here all day. But this maul will be a lot smaller for that reason. But it will of course need to be supplemented by the Nav-Small, because as like for anything that you don't need in Legendary, you will need to go and get it from here instead. Lights, for example. I suppose I could make Legendary lights. They're pretty inexpensive, to be fair. I suppose I could do that. It's up to you, really, how you feel about wastage. Quote-unquote wastage. So yeah, let's have a look at the sulfur farming thing, now that it's been running for a little bit longer than no time at all. Wow, yes! So we're peaking at about 19. That was a very lucky run of Legendary Asteroids, it seemed like. Whereas now, 63.5. We've got the opposite problem now. Got the opposite problem. We've got too much sulfur, not enough carbon. So we'll do the circuit condition here again, in the same way that we do for the ice calcite one. You know, if there's loads of calcite, then we don't care about calcite. Just give me ice, please. Even though there's also loads of ice that we don't do anything with at the moment. But at least, you know, like this one is extremely easy. This one we'll do it like the other way. We'll do it both ways. We'll say if there's less than 100 carbon, then focus carbon, but also focus carbon if there's loads of sulfur. So there's three conditions, right? There's not enough carbon, not enough sulfur, too much sulfur. If we know for a fact that if we leave it on the advanced recipe, we get too much sulfur, not enough carbon. But we know that we need a lot of sulfur anyway, so we need to prioritize sulfur first, then prioritize carbon afterwards. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I've confused myself. The point is, it works really well. And there's loads of space here. I thought about maybe just doing all three of them on this ship. You know, getting rid of these two here and just having every Legendary Asteroid output and doing all three of them. But then I thought we were back to square one, right? We did that originally on this. These three were all the different recipes, and they went into the ship, and we realised that that wasn't enough. So I don't want to get too cocky with it. It might be that I end up building 2 more of these for the other 2, but you know, it's fine. How's the Prometheum ship doing? The Prometheum ship is doing fine. I finally got around to putting the radars in with the circuit conditions. So if you're travelling, set the filters on the asteroid collector. If you're travelling to the shattered planet, then send an output of Prometheum asteroid chunks. If you're not travelling to the shattered planet, send an output of the other 3 filters, other 3 asteroid chunks. So then that way, these 2 will prioritise Prometheum asteroids when you're in that area, and these 2 will continue to just collect anything and everything so that we can get ammo and stuff. And as you can see, at one point I ran out of railgun ammo, and I thought, what's the best way to fix this? And the best way to fix this is to just use the belt as a buffer. So I got rid of the splitter here that didn't send the railgun ammo around, so now the railgun ammo just goes all the way around, even though there's no more guns. It's just being used as storage space, basically. And yeah, this has been going backwards and forwards very, very well. Prometheum science. 22 a minute. It's not very good, is it? It's because it spends some time here doing nothing, because if we sent it backwards and forwards forever, it would be a lot faster. The point is that sometimes I forget that there's 2000 Prometheum science here in this ship, and I'm not using it for anything. So then I switch this back. I end up using it a bunch. Because the other downside of this is that these biter eggs are coming up. I've still yet to find a way to not bring biter eggs up. I would love a way to be able to say, bring biter eggs up if the circuit condition is there is Prometheum on the ship. But I'm yet to find a way to do that. So biter eggs are coming up and then periodically being destroyed by these lasers, which is just funny as much as it is cruel. We can't just send all of the Prometheum science packs down to Nalvis as and when we make them, due to the way that this works, because the inserters take them directly out of the cargo landing bay. The way we could do this, I suppose, would be to rejig this ever so slightly, send all of the science packs down whenever we make them, and have a buffer chest here that just requests them. But I feel like that's a very, very quick way to get 50,000 Prometheum science packs on Nalvis that are doing nothing. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing, of course. Because, you know, this is on trash unrequested, so if we ever get more than 1,000, they go into the bin. But they don't go into the bin, of course, they go into the logistics system. But there's no way for them to get out of the logistics system and back into the sushi belt. Unless, of course, we do exactly what we've done here with these. You know, so like, any excess. This is exactly what the green boxes are for. To bring any excess to the place that you want to store them anyway. So it might just be that we do that. It might just be that we empty this of stuff and just literally move it down one space. That might be the way forward. But the only reason we would do that is if we care, as I say, is if we care about our Prometheum science per minute number not being as high as we want. And what's that? That doesn't mean anything. Okay, let's get a legendary mall going. I've been waffling for ages about nothing. Here's a few things, just to get us going. I feel confident enough now that we can actually get rid of this down here as well, so the old thing has gone completely. And while I'm waiting for that to do that, I thought I would show you... I got a railgun delivered from Aquilo and some railgun ammo from the Prometheum asteroid ship. And I thought I would show you this, because it's very funny. Because each segment of the destroyer is its own entity that contributes to the base health of the head, the railgun just sort of pierces each segment, does the 10,000 plus 20,000 physical damage, and very quickly and humanely ends its life. The big ones take a couple of shots. Good lord. So you just have to be careful that you're not killed by it retaliating against you. Of course, if you attack it from the tail end, you get the same effect, but without the danger of the shockwave from the head doing you in. So, like, you know, like, all of that belabouring about the turrets, and turns out you only need 3 or 4 railgun ammo to do it. Which, you know, trivialises the whole thing, really. So that's funny. Okay, the last thing we want, I think, is every single time I want to go somewhere, I just repurpose one of the other ships. So I want to go from Vulcanus to somewhere, I get a ship that's near Vulcanus, I send it to me, and I go take it to the planet that I want it to go to. And sometimes that ship is not even the right one, it's not going, it's well out of its way or whatever, so I thought it's about damn time. I'll show you my milestones briefly. 130 hours into the game that I built my own actual personal ship. And also so that I can try and design a ship that doesn't look garbage. Spoiler alert, I don't do that. I fail at that pretty miserably. The Luna 1. Luna is the name of our cat. It just uses lasers and missiles, which should be more than safe enough for it to go anywhere between the 5 planets. There's no reason for us to go beyond the solar system edge with this. And as you can see, I tried to get creative with the front, and then when it came to the back, I was like, well, I want space for everything. It's so hard to build the shape of the ship without knowing how much where you're going to place everything, and then when you place everything, it ends up being a freaking square. You know? So I suppose I could like design a shape now that I know that this is going to be the thing. You know, like I could design some wings or something here, but then I'd have to defend them, and then I'd have to get the ammo to them, and it's just like I can't do it. My brain's not big enough, I'm afraid. So this is the ship. Plenty of cargo space. Plenty of cargo space. These aren't even legendary cargo bays. They could be, quite easily, to be honest with you. Could easily make those. Yeah. Could easily make those. So let's very quickly... Oh, upgrade plan. I hate how the upgrade planners end up in flipping chests all the time. Why can't you take an upgrade planner into space? It doesn't do anything. It's not an item. I also wish you could do everything. I wish you could have a null filter here for just anything that's common quality, make it epic quality. I mean, that's probably... I'm probably not foreseeing an issue with that would become quite obvious as soon as they gave that functionality to me, but there we go. Yeah, so this has got... Oh, we'll do the same with these, in fact. Just because I want to see quite how fast this will go. How am I launching rockets on Vulcanus now, you may ask? Good question, down here. Just 4 for now. Maybe that's wrong, but they're 4 and they're quite fast. These will mostly be used for launching green belts into space. Whoops, that was the wrong button. Okay, that's a lot of cargo storage. That's a lot of cargo storage now, which is what we want, because this is going to be we're going to take everything around everywhere with this. You know, this is going to be filled with like 2,000 green belts and inserters and power poles and furnaces and assembly machines and beacons and modules, and you know, this is going to be it. This is what we're just going to use to travel around the place. We'll send it back to Nalvis every now and then, refill it with stuff. This is it. This is it. So let's quickly travel into space, turn off my personal logistics, throw everything in the garbage. So this is why I have a purple. This is why I have purple chests, because it's easier to throw stuff in the purple chest en masse than it is to individually click things into your trash slots. But anyway, that's just me. Alright. Travel to space... Oh, I've got railgun ammo on me. Travel to space platform. Travel to the Lunar 1. Are you done? Are you sorted? Yes. Good. I haven't actually done this. I was talking earlier about how everything was... This is the first time I've seen this. I've saved this specifically, so you can see my live reaction. Live Fenton reaction. There's a good chance that it just blows up. But I'm pretty sure that between all of these missile turrets and all of these lasers, we should be okay. Are we here? Are we here? Okay. 9 legendary thrusters, not limited with fuel injection or anything, on a modestly small ship, I suppose. I suppose it's quite heavy, 714 tons. Let's go! 300, 400 kilometers a second, 413. Asteroid productivity 10 researched. That is a lot of asteroids. That is the densest asteroid field I've seen outside of the Shad planet. And we're there. That was incredible. That was incredible. Oh man. We didn't even empty the belt of missiles. Excellent. Okay, right. So, in the next episode, I think what we'll probably do is we'll probably go to Gleba. How is this still an hour? What is wrong with me? We'll probably go to Gleba and Bootstrap. I actually keep saying Bootstrap, I don't think I'm using that word correctly. And we'll tear down Gleba for sure, and we will try and get legendary stuff going on Gleba with the help of our personal shopping ship, our personal shopper ship. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more broadcasts from Space Age, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, take care, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.